from the channel that brought you some really mediocre top 10 videos comes another top 10 video that's not even a top 10 video. That is right, guys. In this video I will be telling you my top 15 favourite roller coasters. Yeah, but it says top 10. It just sounds better, alright? But yeah, this is my top 15 roller coasters, and yeah, I've made it top 15 just as a really soggy attempt of dragging out a video. But seriously, I do have a lot of controversial opinion. Controversial, is that a word? Whether it's a word or not, I have some controversial opinions in here, and I want to tell you a bit about each coaster. So I've got 15 coasters in this video that I'll talk to you about. Feel free to tell me your own favourites in the comments, and just remember, this is my opinion, none of this is fact, and I still recommend that you go out and do these coasters yourself and form your own opinions. Also, before we start, not all the footage in this video is my own. I'll leave credit to the footage owners in the description. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so number 15 is Nemesis Inferno at Thorpe Park. This is very similar ranking to Stealth and the Swarm, but I actually found this my favourite ride at the park at Thorpe Park because it's just really intense and it's so smooth and it's just so enjoyable, to be honest. So yeah, I really enjoy this ride. Next up is Goliath at Wallaby Holland, and this is really fun as well. It's perfectly smooth and it's got some amazing airtime moments, but it's this low in the list because of its boring middle section. It's got some helixes which aren't really that intense and some twisted airtime hills which don't really give you much airtime at all, to be honest. These ejector hills at the end are really good, but the fact that the middle section is pretty dead makes this ride quite low down in the list. Now, Lost Gravity is rattly in the opinion of some people, but for me the first drop on it is unbelievable. It's probably one of the best drops on a roller coaster I've ever ridden. It's so whippy and it's got so much airtime, but the ride itself's got a good theme, some good airtime moments, and it's really fun in general. Now, Silver Star was quite difficult to rank because I did ride it 5 years ago, so my memory of it's faded a bit, but I do remember it just being absolutely incredible. It was probably my first big roller coaster that I've ever rode, so just the memory of it being there is really good. I think I'm going to go back next year, and I fear it won't be as high as this, but we'll see. Mako is a ride that was way below my expectations. I expected it to be good. A lot of people talk about it a lot, so it's got amazing airtime, but for me the airtime was good, but it wasn't anything special, and for that reason this is where it's going to be in the list. It's very smooth, it's fast, the first drop's amazing, but the airtime's just a bit disappointing. I did ride it in the morning, so I'm not sure how much it'll speed up over the day, but I don't imagine it'll make a huge difference, so this is where it is in the list. Straight into the top 10, we've got Troy, and oh, this is so good. It's a pretty large scale GCI wooden coaster, and to be honest, everything's done perfectly. Like, for what it is, it's probably a perfect coaster because they couldn't have really made it any better, to be honest. It's just like, it's smooth enough so that it's not rough, but then it's not like a modern wooden coaster that's smooth so it doesn't feel like a wooden coaster, if you get what I'm trying to say. Pretty difficult concept to grasp, but there you go. But it's such a long layout, I really like the theme for it, and the airtime never disappoints, so go on this on the back row and it's incredible. Troy is insane, honestly. So yeah, this is Troy at number 10. Next up is Alpina Blitz, and I rode this at the start of the season, so it would have been maintained pretty well at the time, but I believe that it's developed a pretty strong rattle over the year, but since when I rode it, it wasn't very rattly at all. I'm gonna give it from my opinion based on that, but the drop of it is incredible. You go flying out your seat if you've got a loose restraint. The restraint does clamp down a bit after that, but it's not too bad. But then you go into a helix, which is so intense. Honestly, I grey out every time, and then the rest of the ride's just full of airtime, so smooth, and Mack Rides have clearly done a brilliant job with it in my opinion. Now, Nemesis is an amazing coaster, but in my opinion it is slightly overrated. It's obviously spectacular for the fact that it was built 25 years ago, and what makes it spectacular is its terrain-based layout. It's so close to the ground every time, and it's got like leg choppers obviously, and it's really intense. Got some whippy inversions, so Nemesis is a great coaster. Another B&M invert is Montu at Busch Gardens, and this was built around a similar time to Nemesis. I think it was a little bit later, but this one is different to Nemesis because it's got elements above the ground a lot more, because Nemesis is so close to the ground at all time. Montu does have its interactions with the ground, but not to the same extent as Nemesis. But talking about Montu specifically, it's really intense. For an invert, it's actually really long because, for example, Nemesis Inferno, in my opinion, is a little bit short. You don't feel the shortness with this. It's got so many great elements. For example, the Batwing is so intense, that section between the two inversions. But yeah, Montu at number 7. Number 6 is Cumber, and this is such a solid B&M sit down. There's lots of inversions in there. It's really intense, and similarly to Montu, it's a long ride, but I just prefer Cumber, maybe because it's always on a 5-minute queue. When I went to Busch Gardens for 2 days, and every single time I saw it was 5 minutes, so you can just keep on going on it. But it's pretty smooth. It's not completely smooth, but it doesn't hurt you at all. And yeah, I love Cumber, it's so good. Okay, so we are now breaking towards the controversial top 5, and starting it off is Osiris. This is my favourite B&M invert over Montu over Nemesis. I know it sounds strange, but I prefer this ride because of airtime, and a B&M invert is not usually associated with airtime, but this one in particular has got lots of dips into the ground, into tunnels, and they give you airtime, and I love that feeling of 0G. And also the drop on this is insane. It's similar to Lost Gravity. I'm not sure which one I prefer more actually, but yeah, this has got a great theme as well, and it's really smooth. It's not the most intense, but it's just so fun. You may be able to see the overall theme that I like along coasters, and yeah, I do really enjoy a complete experience. I don't like a ride that you just go on and then it's over. And the Smiler is definitely not one of those short rides. It's got 2 lift hills, 14 inversions, and it's just non-stop madness. It's got 2 amazing airtime hills actually as well, and I think that's the best part of the ride in the opinion of a lot of other people as well. So some people believe this is rough. I think, well, it's certainly not smooth, but it's not rough really. It's rattly, but let's say Saw is a lot more rough than this. And for me, Saw, when I rode it this year, Saw was bearable slightly. The Smiler's definitely not rough. So yeah, that's controversial opinion again, but there you go, the Smiler at number 4. Oh god, how am I going to justify this one then? Yep, number 3 is Cheetah Hunt, and this is a family coaster in the opinion of a lot of people. I don't think it's a family coaster because as a kid, me seeing an inversion, I'd be like, whoa, I'm going to fall out. So yeah, I don't think it's a family coaster, and it also is a 60 miles an hour. But talking about the launches, it's got 3, and they're fun, they're not amazing. The second launch is good, but first and third are pretty soft. But this ride's just so long, and it just goes on forever. It's got good airtime, not to mention that drop into the ground after the weird element at the top. That's got such good airtime, and yeah, I really like Cheetah Hunt. I feel like I like it a bit too much because I see other people saying it's a family coaster and whatnot, but I just love it, and it's one of those things that you can't really explain. Please don't just rant in the comments about why Cheetah Hunt's 3rd, but it is, so just accept it guys. Sorry about that. Right, next one. Icon is 2nd, and yeah, this is awesome as well. It's pretty similar to Cheetah Hunt, but I just find it a bit more extreme. It's got more tight transitions, to be honest, and the launches similar to Cheetah Hunt. They're not amazing, but they just gather speed, and then once you got that speed, you go into so many whippy transitions, and there's a lot of airtime in this. It's also a very long ride, and the operations on it are amazing. That means that the queue is always very short, so when it's full, I believe it's still only 20 minutes wait, which means you can almost always get walk-ons pretty much on this. But it's a long ride, it's just really fun. You can probably tell that I'm not a sucker for intense coasters. I like smoother, more fun, more maybe like long ones, so I don't want to just queue up and then it's over quickly for something like Stealth, you know what I mean? I've got a weird opinion on coasters, but I think number one you will understand. Number one is Untamed at Wallaby Holland, and this is unbelievable. It's probably top 10 in the roller coasters in the whole world, to be honest. The airtime on it is unbelievable, honestly. You're out of your seat for so much of it. It's almost like tiring, like it tires you out afterwards. You're speechless when you get off. It hurts your thighs, you probably get bruises on your shins if you're tall like me from those lap bars. I mean, not lap bars, these shin bars, but it's so intense. Not intense, but I mean, not intense with G-force, just intense with how many quick transitions there are. It's insane, and my experience from it, I got a night ride on it, so when it's dark, when it's late, it's running quickly, and it was also raining very heavily, so as you can imagine, that would just be such an insane experience. And thank you so much for watching, guys. That's my strange opinions about roller coasters, that's my strange list, but there you go. See you guys next time for another video.